Hello and welcome back to my channel. Let's do a slideshow first so you can see better. All right, let's do this. Okay, so we are at question number 184 for our DevOps and SRE interview preparations. The point of these videos is if you watch these videos and study on your own, you should be able to walk into any interview for DevOps and SRE roles pretty confident because we were covering a big width of topics and we're getting somewhat deep into each one. So you should be you should feel good about going into the interview and you're not going to be nervous. That's my goal. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. It's nothing for you, but it's actually a big difference in my channel. So please do that. I would really appreciate that. Okay, I did some research on LinkedIn job descriptions, and I came up with these 15 most important topics for DevOps and SRE interviews. The ones at the top are more important, so you should be spending a lot more time on the first five or six and less time on the bottom ones. However, even the bottom ones are not negligible. So please spend at least some time in each of the topics at the bottom at the list of these 15 topics at the bottom of it. Okay, today we're on number 4, software development slash coding. Now, I want to tell you something about coding in general for DevOps and SRE interviews. Nowadays, almost no DevOps SRE offers are made without a coding interview. Now, if you're going for a junior role, it would be a very simple coding interview. If you're going for a senior role, then the coding interview might be lead code type level, a lead code, easy questions, or lead code maybe low level, medium, or high easy type questions. So please be aware of that. If you haven't spent much time coding in at least one language, please do spend some time learning at least one programming language that you could do. If you're going for a junior role, at least some um, basic level programming, like dealing with an array or dealing with a string or something like that. So having said, the reason I said that, because you see this come up as number four out of all topics for DevOps and SRE, because nowadays um, DevOps roles maybe not so much, but for SRE role, definitely coding is required. Coding is you need to have coding experience and knowledge to do this. So, however, this question is not a coding interview per se. It's about your knowledge about software development itself. Because if you have, especially if you're going for mid or senior level SRE roles, you're expected to have some experience, maybe 2, 3, 4 years of experience at least with some coding. So you should be familiar with the software development process. That's what this question is all about. So today's question is, what are some of the factors in the 12-factor app? It's a well-known phenomenon in software development, so you should at least be familiar with it. You are not supposed to know all 12, no way at all, but you should know at least 3 or 4 of them that you can list and you can talk about during the interview. Okay, before I move on, this is Floyd Spencer, is my career advisor. Please take advantage of his 1 hour free session if you're in the job market. I'm not financially affiliated with him, but he's very passionate about helping people. So please do take advantage of that. You would not regret it. Okay. So first of all, what are these 12 factors? What does it mean, right? So what it means is if you're a software developer and you're doing any kind of coding, these are the 12 best practices that you should adhere to when you're writing code. Now, 12 is a big number to remember all of this. Of course, you're not expected to remember all of this, but you should know some of them. In fact, if you are writing code today and if your code is being reviewed by a senior person, chances are he or she is actually knowingly or unknowingly looking for these the word factor is really misleading here. It really should be called 12 best practices or something like that, right? So he or she is looking for these kind of best practice type things in your code. So let's cover a few of them. First of all, code base. Of course, this is like goes without saying. Your code should live on a code base that's version controlled, like GitHub or GitLab or what have you, right? Some kind of code base has to be there. It should not be living on people's computers. Number 2, dependency. So if your code depend on some other library or some other package, they should be clearly mentioned towards the top of your code. Like in Python, you would have something like the requirement.txt file. So it's not buried somewhere. It should be very clearly visible that your code depends on something else, right? Number three, configuration. So here, if your software depends on API keys or DB connections or any kind of configuration, they should be kept separately from the code. That's what number three is all about, right? Let's pick another one like number 10. In number 10, dev/prod parity. What does it even mean? So the idea here is your code should not differ from dev to staging to production. The configuration should differ, and they should be kept in variables. And same is for number three, by the way. Your API keys, your DB connections, your anything configuration wise, they really should live on an environment variables or some kind of variables. For example, if you're doing Terraform code, they live on TF-vars file, right? So again, the code should not differ just because it's running in development or staging in production. The difference should be in configuration files or environment variables. Logs are in the self-explanatory. Your code should always log things so that it's easy to troubleshoot. So again, I'm not going to go through all 12 of them. That would be too boring. But for the purpose of an interview, we should know what 12 factors are, like not list them, but the idea of it, why they exist, and you should be able to mention at least 3 or 4 of them in an interview. That's the idea. I hope you found this useful. If you have particular questions, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'll do my best to answer your questions, or you can just leave a comment below and I will try to help you out. All right, I will see you in the next one.